Hello, YouTubers. This is Eddie Johnson, EJ, the Automotive Detail Innovator. And I wanted to touch bases with y'all on not just buffing techniques, but but the different types of buffers that I've bought over the years, starting with my second buffer that I bought, and I think I bought it in the early 80s. I'm gonna give you a little history on each buffer. The first buffer I'm gonna talk about is I don't own the first buffer that I bought. I bought it in '79, and it was a Milwaukee one-speed buffer. It was pretty heavy at the time. It felt like you was holding a grinding tool, an old school grinding tool that they used on the shipyard to grind metal with on ships to smooth the metal down after the welder finished welding the seams together. You would take this grinder that looked as similar to a buffer, and you would grind the metal down to make it smooth. You do all this before you start sandblasting. The reason why I'm somewhat familiar with shipyard work, I did work in a shipyard briefly, and I used one of those grinders. So I'm comparing my first buffer, which was a Milwaukee buffer, to the grinding tool that I used. And I bought the buffer out of a pawn shop, so it was used. And believe it or not, I didn't even own a car at the time I bought my first buffer. I didn't know how to use it, but I felt like it would be an investment for me because I was into helping others clean their cars, and I have been keeping every bicycle that I own clean. I'm talking about taking the rims off the bicycle frame and waxing the whole frame. I used to wax the forks, the rims, in between the rims, the grooves inside the rims where the spokes ran through the bicycle rim. I used to wax those also, right? If I didn't watch out if I didn't watch out while riding my bike, I could slip off my bicycle seat and hit the bicycle frame and slip off because I kept that bicycle frame waxed up and it was smooth. Okay, I since I didn't after my first buffer, the Milwaukee buffer, I was trying to figure out the best way to say it. After my first buffer, the Milwaukee buffer, I kept it for several years. And the next following year, I did get my first car, which was 1980. So I used the Milwaukee buffer to buff on my own car with. And to be honest, it was a trial by error since I never buffed before. That car was like my personal own training lesson where I trained myself how to buff. And it got to the point where one side of the car paint was thin when the other side of the paint wasn't thin. I had to damn near smooth all the paint off of it from constantly buffing it with the wool pad. Okay, the second buffer that I bought was a Makita buffer. Now, I still have this buffer today. Matter of fact, I got it in my hands right now. If I'm not mistaken, I bought this buffer. I know it was in the 80s. I would say maybe 88 or something. And this buffer, and I'm not sure if it's different name brands because it was other name brand buffers being made at the time. So I don't know if the other buffers prior to me buying my first buffer, which was the Milwaukee, had dial down on it. I just know about the Milwaukee that I own. The first buffer, I can't even tell you how old it was. All right? Okay. The first Makita I bought, it had high and low right here, right? I had said I was going to plug up a extension cord and let y'all hear how each buffer sounds when I turn them on, just to let y'all know that each buffer I have works, right? I wouldn't keep something since the damn 80s if it didn't work. But it has a high and low switch on it. Okay, during the time I started using this buffer, I wasn't familiar with all the pads and the chemicals of exterior buffing. So what I did know was any buffing that I needed to do to brighten up paint or to remove some scratches, this was the buffer that I used. Most of the times I kept it on low, and then when I was trying to kick a good deep shine into the exterior of whatever vehicle I was buffing, I would put it on high. Okay, at that time, they had came up with this big cast iron oval buffer. Now, with that bonnet on it, right? This oval buffer only had one gear, one switch, which turned it on and it turned it off. It was what you use to put on your polish or whatever type of chemical you would use, or cream, to get your swirls out, right? It had like a nylon bonnet that you could use to put your wax on. It was designed to where it didn't soak into the actual pad of the oval buffer, which worked pretty good, right? I was still learning at the time, but the oval and the Makita buffer went good together. Okay, the third buffer I end up buying is my first buffer that had dials underneath right here. Dials allowed you to adjust the speed, increase the speed, and that's when, to me, I don't know about other detailers, and I never had this conversation with other detailers, but with me, when I got the my third buffer and it had the dial switch on it to where I could speed it up and slow it down, that's when I got better at removing scratches, because I could slow the RPM down on the high-speed buffer, which would allow me to work the scratches better, try to work them out or fade them. It was it was when I started using this buffer, it's when I started feeling real comfortable about how much control I had of the buffer versus the first two the first two buffers that I showed y'all previously. Well, the first one, because I couldn't show you the second one because I don't own it no more. Now bear with me. The second buffer I showed y'all, I had it ever since the 80s. Now, I'm gonna compare the difference of buffers to you for the design, all right? Not only did this have high and low gear, look at the casing on this versus casing on these. This one, my third buffer. If you look at them both, they're both blue, but the casings are entirely different. All right. See, one, two, three. Okay. The fourth buffer that I end up owning, I'm trying to get this in the order that I bought them, was another Makita, right? Top of the line at the time, top of the line. Dial down right here instead of underneath. It's a lot lighter, and man, the difference between this, using this buffer like what's the difference between night and day. This is when I realized that buffers was changing with the times, man. Okay, what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna put this here right there for right now. Put it back in the order they came, but that there, I liked it, the buffer so much, I went and bought myself another one. Same design, Makita buffer. Okay, put that there. Put this one back here. Now, during the process of this buffer, or the other one, they came out with a lighter oval. Man, this is so light, so easy to put wax on and take wax off. The only thing I didn't like about this here, it didn't have torque to it. So when I used it, I had to press down a little bit to give it more torque. But I couldn't press down it hard enough on it to where it couldn't do a full rotation. I was afraid I was gonna burn the buff up. Okay, from that process, I ended up buying my first DA. Now, when you start talking about doing a exterior cut on a car that don't have deep scratches, applying wax on a car or glaze, anything to take the swirls out, this buffer here is ideal for that purpose. It already has the DA cutting pad. Once you got through cutting it with the DA cutting pad, you can go back with it which is another DA. This particular DA finishing pad, and man, like wow, the swirls are gone. Okay, I'm gonna introduce y'all to my first dual action buffer. Now, I had said I wasn't gonna buy a dual action buffer because to put it simply with you, I wasn't gonna buy a dual action buffer mainly because I could take my Makita buffer right here with the dial down, switch pads, switch screens up, change the RPMs that I'm buffing at, and do the same thing. But in order for me to call myself an innovator, I had to have the tools to innovate with. Then I thought, you got all the other buffers you might as well own a dual action buffer. Now, I'm not that familiar with the brand, but it works good. I done used it a couple times since I've owned it, and I like the way it performed. So I got it just in case I need it. Now, bear in mind with me, I done showed you similar buffers that does the same similar thing, And some would ask, man, why you got so many buffers, or why you buy so many buffers? At one time I had my own business, and I learned that it was always good to have 3 buffers on deck, just in case something go wrong with the other one. And like I said, this was my first dual action buffer bout right here. All right. Pump center came on its own. Okay. Now, as time went on, and I'm doing the innovating thing, I'm gonna introduce y'all to the last 2 buffers that I just recently purchased. I purchased a brand new Makita buffer that came Friday to me. If you notice, it's still got the cord wrapped around it. It got vents right here. Now, I got the same kind of buffer like this in my trunk. I mean, it's not my trunk, but my locker at work. It came with the same fancy Makita bag too, man. I bought this more or less for at home when I'm doing molds, and that way I won't have to take the one that I have at work home with me just to use it. I bought this as a backup, so let's count them. I want to know how many I actually got. I got 1, 2, 3, 4. This make 5, and then I got one at work that makes 6. Okay, that's a total of 6 buffers. 6 Makita buffers. Let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One at work that makes 6. Okay, a total of 6 Makita buffers. Now, last but not least, I bought myself a Swirl Killer dual action buffer, top of the line. Here we go, Swirl Killer 21 slang. Look at how long the stitching cord is. You know, this is a real nice buffer. I haven't used it, but I did some research on it, and I looked online and got a chance to see how it performed in videos. The manufacturer that manufacture these products and buffers, they got videos you can look at. And I know for a fact, if the non-generic name dual action buffer that I showed y'all, when I showed y'all this, it's a good buffer. To be honest with you, I could have bought 4 of these with the price I paid for one of these. They say bars in their toys. Now, I've had people ask me, why do I need so many buffers? And I'm like, okay, I feel comfortable having as many buffers I want to have. It ain't like I can't use them all. I haven't bought no buffers that I can't use, right? I buy them to use them. But to make it simple, you got these gun rights people that's into gun rights, and that's fine. No one will ask a person that believe in gun rights, that own a lot of weaponry, why he got so many weapons. But yeah, I've been asked why I got so many buffers. Well, the buffers make me money. I don't know how much money the gun rights people make off their actual guns, but I know, being in the automotive detailing business or industry since 1979, and coming all up to the last 30 years, being an automotive detailer have done so much for me. It have paid all my bills. It helped me help my daughter that went to college. It helped me do things for my grandchildren. The automotive detailing industry being good to me. It's been good to me because I put in. I didn't put in something. I didn't put in no time looking for an automatic fix or automatic way to get good. I didn't cut no corners. I learned how to perform automotive detailing by trial and error. And as I grew, my skills grew, and I became more enlightened on automotive detailing in general. I've learned chemicals, I learned buffing pads, I learned different waxes. I have a love for the automotive detailing industry game. And if I had to say what I love about it the most, you looking at it, damn buffers. Now, inside this room that I'm in now, this is where I have all my automotive detailing equipment at. I got some at work, right? I got another farm center with a full kit to where I could perform headlight restorations there rather. I got a couple of headlight restorations I'm gonna do over the weekend. After that, I'll probably bring my headlight restoration kit back home. But I just wanted to share with y'all the tools. I'm not a one-dimensional person. I've never been a one-dimensional person. I've always believed in having more of whatever I wanted to do in life. I always wanted to have more than one way to be able to do it. So I'm gonna turn this camera around and I'm gonna let y'all see this table that carries all my automotive detailing equipment, from a wet and dry vac to a vacuum to a carpet cleaning machine to an ozone machine to a steamer to a sprayer, electric spray painter to paint fender wells with. You basically name it to get the automotive detailing job done. I'd have spent my money, invest my money in the equipment to be able to do it. So I'm gonna get ready and sign off. I just wanted to share with y'all the tools that I have in my profession. And as time goes on, I'm looking to do more mobile. Like right now, work 5 days a week. Some of my automotive detailings I do is done while I'm working. Since I work for a dealership, I'm always performing some form of automotive details for the employees that work with me. And then I got my occasional side jobs that I do on the side. I bought all this equipment as time persists on. I could possibly start working 4 days a week or maybe even 3 days a week. And then I could use all this equipment here y'all see to generate some extra revenue where I won't feel the tightness in the wallet from going from working 5 days a week to 3 days a week or maybe 4. This is EJ, the automotive detailer, innovator. And I'm gonna tell you, I put my exterior buffing skills up against anybody. And if I had to rate myself, if you took 50 automotive detailers that specialize or say they specialize in exterior buffing, paint correction, and you gave us a real bad car, I don't want a new car. You could give me a 70 or 80 model car as long as it got paint. And you give the guys that's competing against me the same kind of car, I'm gonna outshine them, because it's what I do. You know, I grew up in this game, the automotive detailing game, from cleaning my first bicycle in 1974 to doing what I'm doing now. And I enjoy doing it. I don't take no shortcuts that's gonna make my work look bad. It just don't happen with me. If I take a shortcut in performing any automotive detailing service, you better believe that the person that car belongs to or that business, be it a used car lot or a new car dealership, is not going to notice the shortcuts I took, because I'm not going to take shortcuts that's going to make my work look bad because I got too much integrity. I don't have no more time to waste. I decided to be as good as I could possibly be at this automotive detailing trade. And once I decided that, I've been doing just that, right? So this is EJ. Have a good day. Peace.